And you can make any kind of salad dressing at home. For the dressing. I think I'm okay to whisk it in there, yeah. If you had red wine vinegar or balsamic vinegar or olive oil or canola oil and then a little bit of mustard and just whisk it up, it really makes a nice homemade dressing. It's very simple. You want to mix it up and make, use wasabi mustard. It would certainly change the flavor a little bit. But this is a lot lower in sodium and a lot cleaner than, buying bottled dressing. It's really simple. Yeah, horseradish. That's good. Yeah. What's that? Sushi? I'm not a big sushi fan. Texture. Yeah, I think it's okay. It just doesn't do it for me. I've tried it many times. I don't know why. What's that? No. No. I'll try about everything, but I don't know. Yeah. Yeah. I think the plastic is probably a little bit more sterile than wood because the bacteria is more likely to get caught in the crevice of the wood. Plastic, I would still clean it really well with just, hot water and soap, but I don't think it's as likely to harbor bacteria as a wooden cutting board is. So like when I'm home, I'm more likely to use a wooden cutting board for vegetables than I am for meat. Yeah.
Oh yes, to the right.
So I've just got a little bit of coarse salt. You could use either sea salt or kosher salt, which is actually a little bit lower in sodium than your table salt because you don't use as much. The other thing that's lower in salt is seasoned salt. So anybody use seasoned salt to, season things with potatoes or whatnot? That's actually half as much sodium as regular table salt because it's got some other spices in it. So you're not getting all that sodium. Let's see.
The end of salt, no.
So I'm not going to add a whole lot of salt to this. Just a little pinch. 1/4 teaspoon. So that's half. Okay. And then I need to cut up the margarine.
Put the farro back in the pot.
I think we're going to put the farro in a nice bowl somewhere. Kind of bowl.
There's one right over there that I'm not using.
Yeah. And then I would. Okay. So we need to. Oh, you're cutting those up, great.
Yeah.
All right. So with the margarine, I'm just going to rinse it and just pull the little leaves off. Do you guys want to taste it? You want to taste it? You want to smell it? Does it smell like pine? I think it's got an interesting smell. Yeah, marjoram. Dried, I think of it, it's very similar to oregano. But when it's fresh, it's completely different taste. Yeah, I just bought this in Kroger. Yeah.
I asked you a question about protein.
Yeah.
Whey protein that you can buy in the market. Is that good stuff?
Whey protein is a nice protein for muscle building, for muscle recovery. It's 100% albumin, which is, that's egg protein is albumin. But whey protein comes from milk. It's a dairy protein. So that's not a vegetarian protein. It's still helpful to you. I look at protein powders from a convenience standpoint. No, yes, it is. It's a complete protein. So it's got all the amino acids that an egg would have in it. Soy protein is also a complete protein. Rice protein is not a complete protein. Most of your animal foods are all complete proteins. Pea protein, I believe, is 100% of your amino acids. And then whey protein is 100% of your amino acids because it comes from milk. And your protein needs are based on your weight. So when you look at a food label, you're not going to see a daily value for protein because everybody's protein needs are different. They vary based on how much you weigh. So most people get enough protein of your diet. Minimum 10%, up to about 10 to 15% of your calories should come from protein. I would say, the number of grams that you should have per meal is probably about 20. So it seems like a lot, but if you have an egg, that's 7. If you have a slice of toast, that's 3. If you have a glass of milk, that's another 8. So it adds up pretty quickly. If you have a 3-ounce piece of chicken, that's 20. So it adds up pretty fast. I need a little tiny bowl for this. Just hold this in my
How about this?
Yeah, that'll work.
Whatever that is.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm just going to take my marjoram and just kind of rip up the leaves. Looks almost done. I'm going to brown it a little bit.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure this out.
I never know which one is which. Yeah. Okay. Are you using a protein powder in like a smoothie or something?
Okay, got it.
Almond milk.
So is there a reason you're using almond milk?
Yeah, I don't have to refrigerate
Oh, you don't have to refrigerate it. Okay. The interesting thing about non-dairy milks is that they're actually higher in calcium than milk, which is not necessarily a good thing for people with prostate cancer. Too much calcium actually can increase the risk for prostate cancer. And most of the time that's going to come from supplemental form. That's not going to necessarily come from food. So, anytime I interview patients, I make sure to find out what kind of supplements they're taking. But most of your non-dairy milks are actually higher in calcium. So like soy milk has 30% calcium of the daily value for calcium, and regular milk has 20. So it's actually higher. Yeah.
Wouldn't your organic milk contain a substance called CLA? Which is
conjugated.
Very anti-cancer.
So that's conjugated linoleic acid.
Yeah.
I believe that's also in regular milk though too. But that's not going to be in your skim milk. That's going to be in.
It's just milk. It's not in almond milk. It's not in.
Right.
soy milk.
That's true. Right.
Do you recommend drinking it?
Do I recommend drinking milk? If you don't have lactose intolerance, I think milk is perfectly safe to drink. The other thing about, people always think of milk and bone health, but you actually need calcium for blood pressure. So there's been lots of good studies on something called the DASH diet, which is dietary approaches to stop hypertension, and part of that diet is low-fat dairy foods. So I think it's a good idea to have dairy in your diet. You need it for your bones, you need it for your teeth, but it's also good for your blood pressure. Now, if you're lactose intolerant, you're miserable drinking milk, then obviously don't drink it. Then find an alternate source. Yeah. Oh, hormones and whatnot in milk? So milk is never going to be hormone-free. If you buy it organic, you're going to get less what's called BST, which is bovine somatotropin hormone, which basically increases the production of milk. It increases the production of beef. The other thing that you won't get in organic meat and milk is the antibiotics, and that's probably the bigger issue. Because in milk, you're going to get hormones no matter what, because it's a lactating cow. There's going to be hormones in it no matter what. You're just not going to get extra synthetic hormones when you have organic milk. That's the big difference. And then the antibiotic issue is even a bigger issue.
What about organic fruit and vegetables as opposed to, ones that are
So
not organic?
that's an interesting question. I was just at a conference where this man is a PhD from UC Davis, does all this work with pregnant women and pesticides. Pardon me. And what he found is that while there are higher pesticide content in certain fruits and vegetables, you can Google the Dirty Dozen for organic, there's never been any proof that the amount of pesticides that are in the fruits and vegetables are detrimental to our health. So it's another one of those things where organic seems to be better, but the sad thing is our fruit and vegetable intake has declined. And so to me, it's better for people to eat fruits and vegetables regardless of if they're organic or not. Because if you're not eating fruits and vegetables because you think the only ones you should eat are organic, then your health is probably going to suffer from that than going for organic all the time. I mean, to me, it depends on the food. Like if I buy spinach and the organic looks better, that's what I'm going to buy. To me, I buy organic milk and I buy organic meat and I buy organic eggs because I'm worried about the antibiotics. I'm not so worried about pesticides in the food because there's never been any proven level that's necessarily harmful to humans. Does that make sense?
I was
Yeah.
told by a physician that vitamin D was a good cancer.
It's a preventive.
Yeah.
So vitamin D is a hormone that you actually produce from cholesterol. I mean, part of your cholesterol production is for vitamin D. And low vitamin D levels have been linked with several types of cancer and other diseases. It's particularly prevalent with MS. So low vitamin D is actually a risk factor for multiple sclerosis. But vitamin D deficiency has been linked with prostate cancer, heart disease, and a number of other things. So I would say if you're over 50, get your level checked. If you have any kind of autoimmune condition, if you already have MS or you have rheumatoid arthritis or you have celiac disease or type 1 diabetes or kidney disease or liver disease, there's a whole spectrum of diseases that are affected by vitamin D. So if you haven't had your level checked, go ahead and get it checked before you start just taking it willy-nilly, because it is fat soluble and it will stay in your cells. It's not like, thiamine that's water soluble that you'll just pee out. It's a good question. Yeah.
You imply that low-fat milk may be better than skim milk?
I would say like 1% milk is probably better because you're going to get that conjugated linoleic acid. Even, and not that you guys are concerned with fertility, but you probably have family members that are. Full-fat dairy products are actually beneficial for couples that are trying to conceive because of that particular fatty acid that's in it.
And one other thing about like white rice, there's some different varieties of rice out there, basmati and jasmine and so forth.
Yeah.
Are they all unhealthy as compared with brown rice?
Well, the long grain rice is going to cook a little bit slower. I mean, it's going to break down a little bit slower. It's still going to raise your blood sugar faster than brown rice or wild rice would. The other concern with, what's that? I was just thinking that, yeah. The other concern with rice is arsenic. So you don't want to eat rice every single day. If you eat a cup or two of rice a week, you're probably safe. And that doesn't matter if it's organic or non-organic rice. The arsenic comes from the soil. So it doesn't matter if it's organic or not.
Arsenic is also in brown rice?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So it's really the consumption. It just depends on how much of it you eat. This is why I always push variety. I'll have people that'll say, just give me a printed menu and tell me what to eat. I don't want to do that. I'd rather teach you serving sizes and let you pick your own food. I mean, I can give you a blueprint, but I don't want to tell you what to eat. That's not fun. Most people won't follow that anyway.
Is it
Yeah.
alcohol or is there an arsenic poisoning problem in Asia when people consume it?
You would think there is, but I don't know. That's a good question. Yeah.
Pasta.
What's that?
Pasta.
What about pasta? I'm Italian. I love pasta. So,
Nothing wrong with pasta.
nothing wrong with pasta. If you diss pasta, you can't come back now. So the whole wheat or the multigrain pasta is going to be better for your blood sugar and your health than the white pasta because the white pasta is going to be more processed. So it's going to break down quicker and raise your blood sugar faster, which can raise insulin faster, which stores more fat, and too much insulin in your body is not a good thing.
Except everybody in the Mediterranean diet, we never eat multigrain pasta. I can tell you.
That's probably
There's no
true.
security.
They probably don't eat the amount that we do either, though.
What, pasta?
I mean,
Really?
just the serving sizes.
Oh. What about brown rice?
Yeah, brown rice pasta is actually a really nice alternative for people that are on gluten-free diets. I've used that before. I've used it like with Asian dishes, and it comes out really nice. It's got a little bit more fiber than your regular stuff. Oh, that looks good. Yeah, I'm going to just set it aside and let it cool. Yeah, that looks great. Thank you. All right, I think I've picked enough margarine off here. Okay, so I'm letting the farro cool a little bit because it really is supposed to be a cold salad. We have that in the fridge, right? The cake is done. It looks good. That's a plus.
Smells good. Can smell it.
Smells good? Good. Okay.
So would it be faster if you used a pair of kitchen shears on that with a hole in the middle of the handle to strip that margarine?
Yeah, but I got to stand here and talk. Yeah, well, I got to kill some time.
They have a tool, it's a little plastic thing with
Yeah,
different
take a look.
size holes in it. And you start it through and pull,
Yeah,
it's according to whether you're doing dill
Maybe
or
you could,
whatever.
don't mind rinsing it.
Because I have my kitchen shears,
Thank you.
there's a hole.
Yeah,
You just
okay.
pull it through.
See, I told you I'm not a chef. I use kitchen shears on green onions all the time because it just, you can cut them and make them into little pieces without having to.
What about
Okay.
white onions? White onions are, I've heard bad things about white onions.
No, there's nothing wrong with white onions. No, they're fine. I would put them near potatoes when you store them because they can become moldy and they can make the potatoes sprout faster, go moldy faster. So I just kind of keep them separate. There's actually a compound in onions. Anybody have? No, I don't want to get personal. I was going to say anybody have irritable bowel syndrome, but I don't want to ask that. There's a compound that's in onions that actually aggravates irritable bowel syndrome. It's called inulin, and it's a type of fiber that creates bacteria in your bowel. It's a prebiotic, so it creates the good bacteria in your bowel. So some people can't tolerate onions. They make them really uncomfortable because of that particular type of compound. It's also in artichokes and beans and bananas. It's in a couple different foods.
She wants the green beans. Snapped in half in the pear. Do you want the green beans snapped in half in the pear?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Directly.
Yeah, thank you. All right, I think we're ready to put this together. So I've got shallots. I've got a really bright yellow, ridiculously yellow, looks like egg yolk dressing, and it's just mustard.
That's just the mustard.
That's just the mustard, yeah.
What was the ratio of mustard to oil?
So the oil, there were 3 tablespoons of oil and 1 teaspoon of mustard. But I put more mustard in and more oil because I grew the salad. I got a lot of people in here to feed. So don't expect a meal. You're only going to get a taste. It's after dinner anyway. So.
Well, you got chicken, salad, dessert. Don't expect a meal.
That's true. Spoken like a true Italian.
You said just snapped in half, right?
Okay. What we work on, I'm going to let that farro cool a little bit. Put that over there, and I got to rinse my hands because I got all this crazy margarine on me. All right, so this is for the salad.
You know, somebody was asking about pasta.
Mm-hmm.
Our son was working on his PhD in Italy in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
We went to visit, and everywhere we went, whether it was a home or whether it was a restaurant, they served an individual as much pasta as I would serve a family of 4 or 5. And you did not see fat people.
Maybe they just walk more.
Yeah.
I think they get a lot more exercise than we do. I don't know if they do as much snacking.
I think they do a lot more vegetables too.
Yeah, and I think they eat more vegetables too.
inclined to do.
Yeah.
I mean, we often didn't get to the segundi, would be the course with the meat or the fish, because we were so full just from
Yeah,
whatever
just from the
pasta.
noodles. That's my kind of eating. Has anybody ever made quinoa pasta before? It shrinks. Like it's the only pasta that doesn't get bigger. It's weird. Like I've made it and I'm like, oh, this will feed a couple people. No, it's smaller. It's very strange, and it's kind of bright yellow. It's not bad tasting or anything, but it's just different from a texture standpoint, and just the fact that it does not get voluminous. It actually gets smaller.
What is it called?
So, quinoa pasta. I think there's a brand in the natural food section that's Ancient Harvest. Ancient Grains. It's in like a blue box. It's kind of teal colored. Kroger. Yep.
Good stuff.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Lentil pasta as well.
Huh? Lentil pasta? I haven't tried lentil pasta.
There's a edamame pasta.
What's that?
Edamame pasta. Very high in protein.
What kind of pasta? Oh, edamame.
Edamame.
I haven't tried that before. Does it taste like soybeans? Or does it have a pretty neutral taste? Kind of? Yeah, I remember.
Pretty awful. You might like it.
I'm going to go a little bit lighter on the onions here, just because they're a little bit of a flavor bully. No offense, Jenny. I know you cut all these. I'll use as many as I can.
I just like to cut them.
I know.
Are we going to see more changes in the artificial coloring and
Oh, yeah.
the artificial flavors?
Definitely.
You know, they talk about Kraft macaroni and cheese a lot on the commercials.
Right.
But are we going to see more? I hope we see more of that.
I think,
Is really into that. But
Right.
boy, I
Yeah.
do think that a lot of those additives and the coloring agents and stuff
Yeah.
really mess with your systems.
There's definitely a movement towards cleaner eating and less processed food. So a lot of the yogurts are going to have beets instead of like red dye. So they're going to use more natural, fruits and vegetables to actually color things with. So yeah, there's definitely a big movement for that. And in children, there's a potential connection with behavioral issues and artificial colors. So I always cringe when I see a kid walking around with like a blue Gatorade after a soccer game. It's just the most unnatural thing you could consume. I mean, when I was a kid, they cut up an orange and that's what you had. And that was great. You're like, oh, I got an orange. But now it's like a bag of goldfish and this blue stuff. And it's sad. I mean, it is. It's pretty sad. So, yeah. But yeah, you're definitely going to see a bigger movement with that, which is good. All right, I need strawberries. Strawberries. Okay. So I'm going to do this really scientific and just throw them in. I don't measure things. This is really difficult for me to do, I have to tell you. I am not a good measurer at home.
So those halved or quartered?
These are halved unless they're really big and then they're quartered. I think they've been quartered because they're pretty good sized berries. So I've got two good salads here. Oh, gotta get them all in there. Okay.
They were kind of something of these.
Those go in the farro salad. Oh. Yeah, so the red onions are in here, and then I just need to make the dressing for this, and then I think we're about ready to eat. Yay, food. Okay. All right. Let me find a little bowl. Oh. Anybody with a nut allergy in here? No nut allergies. Okay, great. Good. Anybody know what this is? You guys seen one of these before? This is my favorite kitchen tool. It's called a mezzaluna. It's a half moon. So it's great for cutting up. I have arthritis, so I have a hard time opening stuff. Where's those scissors go? Yeah. Okay. So what's nice about this, I was going to cut the marjoram with this, but then I didn't want it's just pecans for the salad. I didn't want marjoram in your strawberry salad, so that's why I just kept it separate. So the nice thing about this is you could just basically cut them like this. You just rock it back and forth. I make olive tapenade with this all the time. Just olives and jarred red peppers and a little bit of oregano and garlic and olive oil. It's really good. And if you don't like pecans, you could use walnuts or you could use almonds if you wanted to. Really, any kind of nut would be fine in here. It just gives the salad a little bit of protein and some healthy fat and a little bit of texture.
Walnuts are really good, right?
Walnuts are really good, yes. Oh, walnuts. Yeah, so nuts, they all have a different fat profile. Like if you looked at a bottle of olive oil, it'll say 14 grams of fat, but part of it's monounsaturated, part of it's polyunsaturated, part of it's saturated, and part of it's a tiny bit trans, if any. Same thing with nuts. They all have a different fat profile. So most of them are high in monounsaturated fat, which is the type that's really good for your heart. Pecans tend to be a little bit higher in calories. Macadamia nuts are higher in calories. Everybody thinks cashews are bad, and I don't know why. I think it's because they taste good. I can't figure it out. They're like, well, I like nuts, but I like cashews. It's almost like this confession. I'm like, that's okay. They're good for you. I don't understand why people think they're bad.
The cashew milk that they come out with is very good.
What is it?
The cashew milk that they come out with is very good.
It's good? I haven't tried that. What is, does it taste like cashews?
Just slightly, but
Okay.
it comes in, I think 3 different, you could get one that's slightly creamy, and one that's creamier, and one that is the creamiest.
Interesting.
But I think it's really good. I like it better than soy or
Okay.
almond.
I have not tried that yet.
Fresh Time Market,
They have, yeah. Oh, yeah, I like that. Like cashew butter?
My wife tends to go with regular olive oil, because it's extra rich. Salad dressing.
That's okay. Yeah, I mean, it really doesn't matter. No, this is the fullness over it and the meat breaks down. No, it's fine. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, that's what I do.
This is probably monounsaturated pockets.
What's that? It will, I mean, yeah, it depends. If it's decaffeinated tea, it will match your water consumption. If it's caffeinated tea, it'll actually subtract from your water consumption.
So it's a decaf.
Yeah, still gonna count it. I think the spinach is gonna cover it. It's not one pasta. Now, the doctor another good one like butter. So